If you like budget-friendly, one-of-a-kind, completely original trucks, this one's for you.
My name is Sigurðan. I'm from Hveragerði in Iceland, and this is my shitbox daily driver off-roader thing.
Iceland is completely stuffed with amazing trucks. Tons of high horsepower, high dollar builds. But the reason I chose this one is because I love the underdog story of a budget-friendly vehicle being built by an aspiring mechanical engineer that is done on a budget while he's in college. I think this is a story that a lot of us can relate to, and a truck that you'd be crazy not to identify with in some way.
At 14 years old, I got the car, and it stood for a while. Then I got the time and knowledge to start building the car properly. And I've been building it for like 2 or 3 years right now, constantly. But it's been like a constant progress since I was 14. And some people talk about it's way too young to start then, but it's like if you start, the younger you start, the more knowledge you will gain. So at 14, it's okay to start, in my opinion.
So the Samurai is built originally in Japan, shipped to the Icelandic market, then used a whole bunch on probably farms and stuff, and then it's just sitting there rotting away, non-functioning, when a 14-year-old Icelandic boy shows up to save it. And on top of that, this particular young man has a lot of inspiration that he's drawing from things that we're doing here in the United States.
Wait, fix one. I have to fix this.
When you fit, dude, trust me, that is not going to be...
No, it bugs me.
What made you decide that... Well, first off, did you build the bed from scratch?
Yeah, the bed is 2mm aluminum, and it's still... First, it had a square tube bed on it, and it was kind of too heavy, and I didn't have enough depth in the bed. So I decided to take inspiration from the pre-runners in the USA and build bed sides for it, basically. And it's the same style as the rest of the body, has the same body lines, but they are just bed sides that I can screw off if I need to access something or if I damage it or something like that.
And I imagine that's why you ended up doing the trailing arms in the rear too, as pre-runner?
Yeah, it was the trailing arms, that was, and the bed cage too. It was all just pre-runner ideas that I've seen in like pre-runner groups on Facebook.
I think this Samurai fully captures what a lot of us off-roaders find cool in the fact that, you know, he's built this thing throughout college when he had like no money. A story that I can relate to, not because of college, but because my first wheeler was built when I was an apprentice and I had no spare money. Everything that I had was going to bills and building out my Jeep. And so to watch him have such high craftsmanship, and you can see there's a lot of ideas and experimentation in this that's all been done on a shoestring budget with, you know, good used parts and great ideas, and it's turned into this thing that he's able to tinker on constantly and daily drive and rely on. And on top of that, it performs way above its weight class. For the amount of money that he has into this thing, because he's focused so hard on keeping it light, the performance in the snow is phenomenal for a truck this size. How much does it weigh?
Last time I put it on the scale, it was around 1120 kilos, but since then it has gotten both lighter and heavier, and I'm hoping it's around 1180 kilos as it stands with a full tank of gas. At the time which I got in the car, it had a Volvo B23, and since then I've put a Suzuki M15A VVT, and next motor will be the Honda K20. The stretch is about 45 centimeters rear and 3 or 4 centimeters in the front, and the wheelbase ends up in about 285 centimeters. At this point in the build, it has Suzuki Jimny axles with 4.3 gearing and no lockers. The plan for the future of the front suspension is either a IFS and use the front frame and mountings of a 120 cruiser, which is the same as a Tacoma, so it would handle better at higher speeds, And the other plan is a high pinion Dana 30 out of a XJ, which is light and is good for the Samurai because I won't make it that much heavier, because we try to keep it as light as possible so it will be, perform best in the snow.
In the next iteration of the build, are you going to do a manual or an automatic?
The next, how do you say, iteration?
Yeah, so the
next phase.
The next phase.
The next phase of the car, it will still be a manual, and it will probably be just a manual forever, because that's what my preference is.
He told me he already has the Honda K20 in his possession. So if he puts that in here with a good transmission to back it up, and he can build out a good IFS system so that he can eat snow at speed, which it already looks like it performs really well at speed, this thing should be able to keep up with all the big trucks here in Iceland. I mean, his power to weight ratio is going to be bananas. It's going to be just such a great underdog truck. And with him only being 20, I mean, he's got so much time still to really learn this thing and fine-tune it and make it to where it's just an absolute snow monster.
The car is on 15 by 10 Outlaw 2 American racing rims, and the reason for aluminum is just to keep it lighter and save the extra kilos. And then it's on 37-inch Nankang FT9s. Which are great in the snow because they are very soft and good for the Suzuki. This is basically built out of like 8 or 10 Samurais. The cab is one Suzuki, which I don't know even what Suzuki that came from, and the rest is like just body parts put together because it was just built out of scrap Suzuki Samurais, and the only thing that the VIN number resembles is the frame, and I don't know where the rest came from, basically. When I was 14, I saw another pickup Samurai at a show here in Iceland, which my friend Sindri owns, and when I saw it, I found it the raddest thing ever, and it was rough and just really cool on leaf springs and 35s, and when I saw it, this was the only thing that I wanted to build for years until I could start building mine. And with the help of my good friend Thráinn Ivarsson, he made it happen for me because he helped me gain the knowledge of building 4x4s since I started in this. And he has been a huge inspiration for me with like everything that I do. How would you define a shit box here in Iceland? And then what advice would you give to other people that are looking to build their first 4x4? My definition of like a shitbox is just, it's performance over looks, and you don't have to have all the creature comforts, you just have to have the basic necessities. And this car is a good example for it, that doesn't have a good paint job, it doesn't look well, but it's cool, but it's a good shitbox and it works really well. What advice would you give people that are looking to build a budget-friendly wheeler? My advice is just don't care what other people think. Just build what you want to build and let your imagination just do its thing and build something cool. And don't take too big of a bite when you're starting out so it doesn't like become overwhelming. Just take it in small steps and just evolve the build and do what you want to do. Well, thanks, dude. No. I appreciate you doing this. Yeah, thank you. I want to be very clear. A shitbox is not a negative term. And this is such a great example of an Icelandic shitbox. Shitbox is a term of endearment in the United States. It means that it's someone who is thrifty, it's someone who's able to get big performance on a small budget, and someone who is thinking outside of catalog parts in order to get what they want. This thing is incredibly capable, and I couldn't, out of everything I've seen in Iceland so far, this is by far my favorite shitbox. And those of you from my area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This thing is rad. So thank you so much for watching these dirty details videos, and I hope you enjoyed this one.